Tangaza sees learning really as a service to the world, to the church, and to its students. So I'm thinking of that bigger context of what do we do here at Tangaza? And it's all about this bigger context of the mystery of life, Fumbula Imani, that the life, death and resurrection of Jesus is our understanding of what makes life meaningful in this community. So what we do when we teach is to basically expose our students to this. This is our unifying testimony, I suppose you would say. So the basis of spirituality then, when we talk about spirituality of service learning, the basis of our spirituality is why we do what we do. Have we thought out what we're trying to do? Because spirituality shapes our beliefs and our attitudes. Right? And our beliefs and our attitudes, in a sense, give us our priorities in what we're trying to achieve. So when I'm sitting down to teach dynamics of human growth or spirituality for social transformation, what am I thinking about in terms of teaching this particular unit? The Tangaza spirituality, or way of thinking about life, really ultimately comes down to a basis of compassion and justice. Many people have said the nature of God is compassion. That's why God created life. The nature of God is compassion. And the passion of God is for justice. So those become the basic foundations for us. So what we're talking about really, our spirituality embraces a hopeful anticipation that things will become better. Things will become better for the human race, and things will become better for the world in which we live. So spirituality for service learning has to prepare staff, students, and our surrounding community for this hope that when we work together, the world has to become a better place. And that gives birth to teaching minds, touching hearts, and transforming lives. That if our teaching is able to achieve that in transforming lives of our students and our own lives, we're going to make a difference in the world in which we live. So I'm hoping that what you heard from Dr. Ajure and from Daniel, I just came in on the end of Daniel's, will be sort of a demonstration of this, and what I'm presenting to you will underpin their presentations. This is the foundation of where the thinking comes from. So the context of service learning really is that at Tangaza we promote a culture of community engagement in the university. Community engagement. So that's really inviting us all into the participation of making the world a better place. And I suppose in a sense we make ourselves better people when we do that. So service learning integrates community engagement into our teaching and our learning, our research, and service learning brings it all together. When we do that and when we involve ourselves in community engagement, we actually empower marginalised groups and communities to secure and develop their own resourcefulness for solving their problems. And I think I saw that illustrated in the examples that Daniel was sharing with us, that comes out of the MBA program of social entrepreneurship. This commitment to service learning says in a sense we need to raise financial services, resources, to support university education for all. And we've got a whole lot of outreach in our Tangaza, from Aruma to different people, to sponsorships of different groups. I was present on Saturday at Edmund Rice Centre down just on the edge of Kibera for an interreligious dialogue encounter between a number of Muslim youth and a number of Christian youth that come from our Edmund Rice Camps movement. And they sat down to talk about the issues facing their life. And that's a step in terms of involvement of our local community, but also an initiative towards bringing different groups within the community together to talk about what the issues are. So the strategic goal 4 stresses that we're committed to teach and live Catholic social doctrine and to provide spiritual support to the members of the Tangaza community. So this is part of the mission orientation of Tangaza itself. So Tangaza approaches its mission of preparing students for service of humanity, supported by a spirituality which is geared to service. And whichever school you're teaching in, whether you're teaching in the School of Theology, the School of Education, or the School of Arts and Social Sciences, this becomes the main reason why we do this. We're preparing people to minister to other people in different ways within the community itself. It's being taught to assist the student personally with insights, ideas, skills, and practices which inspire and enable the student to make a difference, to be an agent of social transformation wherever he or she may be. It's being taught with the Tangaza University College within Tangaza, which then means it must be aligned to the vision, mission, values, goals, and the strategic plan. So all of this thinking that the college has done really pushes us towards not having too many other options than to engage ourselves in service learning as such. So what is it, when I was thinking about this to prepare myself to teach? Service learning is the process of the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and values that learners might eventually share with their communities that leads to social transformation and the flourishing of life. And you saw that illustrated in the examples that Daniel spoke about. So it's linking theory and practice. Theory and practice. So there's one starting off point in terms of thinking, how do I teach this unit? Theory and practice. For a Catholic university, service learning means building self-identity and confidence through the service and learning experiences shared by staff and students with their stakeholders. And this type of learning is, of its nature, transformative, because it's based on the approach to development from grassroots. It's not being imposed from outside. And this is just coming out of that spirituality handbook that we developed at the end of last year. So how do we start to think about this? To provide learners with knowledge of human development and the variables which influence growth. Right? I'm teaching dynamics of human growth. Of human development, sorry. So how do I think of the purpose of the course? And a key word I would have is what to present the theories. So we have to be able to announce them, spell them out, talk about them, discuss them, so they become part and parcel of the way in which our students begin to think. So the purpose of teaching dynamics of human growth is to present what our current thinking is around those particular areas. The second part of it would be to critically investigate. To critically investigate. So if that's in my purpose when I begin to teach, then I'm going to have to be able to explain, we need to talk about, students need to raise some examples, so that we critically investigate the growth. Another key word is to expose students to the unique challenges and conflicts that affect the development of individual people. To enable students to integrate their knowledge of what we're teaching into their own personal lives as future agents of sustainable human development. And to help students to live a more authentic and rewarding lives as they become effective agents of social transformation. So we see some key words there in terms of how do I frame the purpose of my unit? To present the theories, to critically investigate, to expose the students to these theories, to enable them to integrate the knowledge into their lives so that they become more authentic and rewarding, they live more authentic and rewarding lives, and they become effective agents of social transformation. So in my thinking about how do I construct the course, these become the purposes of the course. So when I have purposes, and I've written them down in the course outline, what are my expected outcomes? The first of my expected outcomes is the value of studying. Why do I sit down and learn? I sit down and learn really because it's giving me the information I need to base good decisions, to think about what the objectives are, these kind of things. So I need to be able to know. So my expected outcome is that the students at the end of the course will be able to name the different theories. In Dynamics of Human Growth, we name the theories of psychosexual development, psychosocial development, the hierarchy of needs. These are the ways in which people begin to think about human life and human growth. But I also expect the students to be able to explain that and to demonstrate a deeper level of self-awareness through reflective writing. So they have to think about what they've learnt, think about the theories, and be able to show that they've understood them and can apply them in particular situations. Now, once I start beginning to do that, I'm starting to combine theory and praxis, or theory and practice. Right? These were the words we picked up on a couple of slides before. I also expect, as an outcome, that the students I teach will be able to present contemporary perspectives that lead to the development of the community, of themselves as people, and to draw concrete lessons. So really I'm putting down and spelling out the outcomes which will show that the students have understood the theory and were able to see how the theories applied to the situations in which they're going to confront in their own future lives. So once I have my purpose clear and the expected outcomes, now I have to look a little bit at what is the methodology? How do I do this? And when I began to think about that, the first thing that came into my mind is that I must engage directly with the students. So it's not a case of going in and telling people. I once heard somebody talk about a methodology of, I tell the people what I'm going to tell them, I tell them, and then I tell them what I told them. But it's all coming from outside. So I may be able to present the theory, but unless I engage with the students, I'm not going to be able to connect the theory to practice. Because I have to be able to meet the current needs, the questions and the experience of the teaching, of the students rather, when I engage with them. So my teaching has to focus on the students. It has to be student-centered teaching. If I don't do that, I'm not going to be able to engage, and I'm not going to be able to help them to make the connection between theory and practice. So there'll be lecturers and students' presentations. That has to be part of my methodology. They have to be given the opportunity to apply these things and present them to their fellow students. there'll need to be group discussion, because our integration of learning comes when we are able to talk to others about what we're learning. And perhaps there are video clips to strengthen the concepts in the discussion. A further methodology, there would be much questioning and answering as the truth is gradually revealed and understood by students. This becomes the methodology by which I'm teaching. Then when I think of assignments and examinations, it's not going to be just, what do you remember? No, it's not just a case of presenting and giving back to me what I taught you. Because what I'm teaching you is not so much just content. Hopefully, the whole process will be taking the content, integrating the content, and applying the content. If we don't apply it, we're not going to make the connection between theory and practice. So assignments and examinations will be geared towards demonstrating a knowledge of the content and the ability to apply it in various situations. All the time coming back to theory and practice. Perhaps there would be more presentations of case studies to help to examine, explore and identify the key elements of work in the appropriate areas. So essentially, that was the fruit of my thinking about this. When we first got caught up in talking about service learning and then beginning to implement that in my teaching, how did I go about doing it? Look at the spirituality. Look at what we're trying to do. Make sure I reorganize my course outline to be able to have clear purpose of learning, clear expected outcomes, and then a methodology which is going to engage with the students so that they can integrate the work and hopefully begin to apply it. And I just want to share one particular example. This is a guy who, you've heard, of course, many examples already this morning. There are many graduated students of Tangaza who have made a difference through the application of what they've learnt at Tangaza. And Thomas Niwir is but one of these. Thomas has a small, fairly small, education sponsorship program, which started off really trying to help people to get to school. Right? Tom graduated about 2014, I think, from IST, or ISMM as it was then, and then he began his work in the master's program. And going along with all of that was the development of Mirror of Hope. So we might just share his story before I finish. Now, what's happening? I need to do something else.
Hello friends, Tommy here. Many of you have been wondering when and where Mirror of Hope actually started. And so I decided to take you down the memory lane and just share with you, when we started and how we have come to be. And I'm standing under this tree, and this is where it all started in 2010. When I first gathered the first couple of children. And every Saturday afternoon I would go out in Kibera, mobilize children and bring them together, and we sat on under a tree talking about different life challenges Then after that, engaging them in some outdoor activities such as games and all that. And after a while, meeting under a tree, the parish priest of the parish where we are decided to give us an office space. And that was a big thing for us because, and by the way, that time, Mirror of Hope was not even registered. We were just doing it ad hoc. But then when we got this office, this gift of an office, that brought with it great relief because then we had some considerable, some neat place, to be able to run our activities from and do the work that we are doing. And so after getting this office space, we have been comfortably running our administrative activities, meeting our clients under a decent roof, which is this office. So we have not stopped dreaming of having even bigger things. I mean, just recently we acquired two 40-foot containers that we have now converted into a music room and a computer lab. And I can tell you, it's only 5 months down the line and our computer lab is already hitting headlines. And the intention of our computer lab is to be able to train these young people and equip them with different computer skills, particularly the design skills, so that they can be out there doing different designs and earning money out of it. And alongside that, we also teach them some entrepreneurship.
My name is Brian Waka, beneficiary of computer program at Mirror of Hope. I would love to take this chance and thank everyone concerned at Mirror of Hope for this awesome opportunity that they have granted me to learn graphic design, which is something that I uphold very closely and to me, because it's one of the things I really wanted to know and to have the skills, but I wasn't able due to one or two, three things. And it complements what I was doing or what I'm currently doing, which is photography. And graphic design has come as an added advantage to me for my career.
Our music room is becoming a big hit. I mean, since we opened our doors, we've had many young people walking in and out, training on different music instruments and vocal training. And we are hoping that very soon we'll have some of our music club members, recording their music and getting their name out there.
Hi, I am Ogengo Feni, currently a student in music at MOH. I just want to say thank you to those who had the willing hearts and joined hands together to make sure that we have a music room. It has really improved some of us, especially me. At least I can get access to any instrument I want. And this will also build to the other students who are currently willing to join. And we would, God willing, be playing in orchestras. And thank you.
I'm so grateful since I've been able to learn music, more so guitar, and it has helped me in my daily skills to learn music because music is an inspiration to me.
Between 2010 and now, since we began, I mean, our sponsorship numbers have gone up. I mean, thanks to the amazing people out there who keep signing every single time, every single year to sponsor the kids in our program. We have lots of sponsors outside there in Australia and or Canada and of course in the US and other places in the world. And what touches me, what makes me so emotional is how people have embraced the work that we are doing. And that's why we managed to move from 0 sponsorships to over 100 now. And remember, that's besides those that we are sponsoring in computers and those that we are sponsoring in music training. So this is just to give you an idea of how massively we have grown over the past years. Another thing is our Women Empowerment Program, which is currently looking after over 50 women, empowering them economically. Now, if you can empower women and children, then that's the surest way of changing lives, basically, in Kibera, and being able to remove as many families as possible out of the slum. I want to really thank you, and I hope we can keep that friendship going, and stay tuned to hear more about our other dreams, and especially one big one that is coming up soon. We can't wait to share it. Thank you.
What started as a program of meeting desperate kids became a school sponsorship program to get them into primary school and secondary. And as soon as Thomas started to work on that, he started to realise that part of the problem was in fact family situations and single parent families, mothers, who were desperately trying to work out what's going on. And what started as a sponsorship program then developed into women's empowerment and training of women, and then microcredit program. And the microcredit program then gave rise to a mentoring system between the mothers initially and then the students. So every step opened up new problems, and every new problem had to find a solution. So what became a very simple thing to start with has now become a fairly complicated Mirror of Hope CBO. And it's working reasonably well and achieving good results. And that's what makes me begin to think around here at the service learning in Tangaza. The service learning enables us, firstly, to identify and articulate our core values as Tangaza. And secondly, if we identify our core values, to strategize to implement our goals and plans. And that's just a reminder, and every day we get that reminder with the Tangaza motto. Teaching minds, touching hearts, and transforming lives. So we'll leave it there. Thank you.